Welcome everyone to a new wrap-up. We're gonna wrap up all the books I've read in May. I've read 14 books in May, which is kind of ridiculous. So I'm gonna try and go maybe a little bit quicker than usual because I don't want this video to be 30 minutes long. It's too long, I believe, for kind of a wrap-up format. Anyway, let's get into it right now. So I've read 14 books, which amount to 5,600 pages, something like this. I've listened mainly to audiobooks this month. That's all I did. So you have the little graph here for the exact numbers, but I mainly listen to audiobooks. In terms of genre, I'm still very, very high on that mysteries kick. I've read 3 Agatha Christie, I believe. I don't know, I'm having a blast reading her right now. And I also, for some reason, read a lot of classic this month. Well, for some reason, the cards picked them for me. So yeah, I think I'm done for a while now reading classic. In terms of ratings, I had a great month. I had 1 2 stars. I really didn't like that book. I had some problem with it. I have 1 3 stars and then 4 stars and 5 stars for the rest. So great month. Let's get into it. As usual, I'm gonna start from my lowest rated to my highest rated. And so of course the 2-star is The Wrath and the Dawn by Rene Adier. Let me start with what I liked about this book. I loved the setting. It's set in kind of an Arabian country, so you have that mysterious desert kind of vibe. It's very atmospheric, like you feel you're there, you can feel the heat, you can, I don't know, the noise, everything. Especially Rene Adier describes the way that her characters are dressed and the jewelry. It seems very gorgeous, beautiful. Now, I had problems with 2 things. One, the characters' description was very repetitive and a bit shallow. Like the man, he was gorgeous, he was a prince, and he was so handsome, a bit brooding, like you don't know what he's going through, but like, you know, he's gorgeous, you gotta love him. And then the woman, the main character, Saad, well, she's 17, I believe. She's cheeky, but like might be overdoing it for being 17 and talking to the king in like very serious matters. But she's beautiful. Like she's gorgeous, and her hair is gorgeous, and her eyes are beautiful. And you know she's beautiful because every single time she walks into a room, everyone remarks on how beautiful and stunning she is. We got it, okay? Oh, that was a bit too much for me. And then something that happened right at the beginning, and I couldn't look past that through the book, is like mild spoilers. So if you don't want to know anything about it, just fast forward a minute or so. There is a rape scene at the beginning of the book with the 2 main characters. And that's never discussed after that. Maybe once, but it's not even referred as something bad. It's just like pushed under the rug. And the character happened to fall in love. Wow! Like he raped you and now you're in love. No. No. I don't even understand how this book is targeted to YA and how so many people are raving about this when, excuse me, he rapes you, but like he's so brooding, it's so handsome that I love him, and you never get an explanation for that. You never see her go through trauma or anything. She's like, no, in love. No. So okay, definitely would not read the second book. I was so annoyed with that one. I'm not gonna read the second one. But I would not give up on Rene Adier just yet because I really like her setting. I really like the atmosphere of her books, and I believe there is another series, a duology as well, set in China or in a Chinese type of setting, and I would love to see that. So maybe I'm gonna try that. If you read it, please tell me down below and I will check it out. That's for my 2 stars. Then I read Heartstopper Become Human by Alice Oseman. It's an online graphic novel. Well, Alice Oseman writes the Heartstopper graphic novel that's like hardback and paperback, and you can find it in ebook as well. Like you can buy it and have it, but she made a little special edition mixing the characters of her Heartstopper novel into kind of a science fiction type of world. I believe it's a video game, and that's for free on her website. You can check it out. You type Alice Oseman, you go on her website, and she has all her books listed out. And this short, it's kind of long, it's more than 100 pages long, novel is available for free for you to read. So yeah, it was not like unbelievable, but it was really good, and I love her characters. I love the way she writes, so I just wanted more from her, and reading that really, it was good. Then everything from now on is 4 stars or higher. I know, what a month. Starting with The Taming of the Shrew by Shakespeare. This is my first comedic, don't know, opposite of tragedy. This is the books that makes me laugh instead of makes me cry. So this is the first comedic kind of play by Shakespeare that I've read. I've read Romeo and Juliet and Macbeth, which are more tragedy, people dying and stuff like this. But Romeo and Juliet was actually kind of funny in a way that I was not expecting. But this one is just full on funny if you put aside all your feminist conviction, you know, because every single woman, the only goal in her life is to get married to a rich man, and she has to obey him blindly. And that's all her worth, is her ability to listen to her husband and be so caring and so gentle with him. Problems. But yeah, if you put that aside, it was loads of fun. I mean, it's from the 16th century. I'm not gonna expect it to be to the 21st century standard, but it was fun. It was loads of fun. It was recommended by my friend Camille, who read it in high school and really loved it, and I understand why. It was loads of fun. It makes me want to read more of his comedic work. Then I listened to The Secret Garden by Frances Oxen Burnett. Let me know if I say it wrong. Which is a kind of a children book. I never knew anything about it before. I just saw it on so many different classic reading lists, and it was available on my Libby app. So I was like, okay, let's read that. On my Libby app, they have those BBC's audiobook edition with like a full cast, and I really enjoy them. So I've read that just one day. Like, it was a 2-hour long, I believe, audiobook. And it was super good. I was quite surprised. You follow a young girl, she's 10ish, she's an orphan. She grew up in India from British parents. Now she's being brought back to the UK to live with her uncle. And she doesn't know him, she never saw him, and like it's her first time in like countryside England. And he lives in a huge mansion. There's places she's not supposed to go. He has this huge garden, but there is a secret garden. She can't see it. She's not allowed to go in. Like, there's so much mysterious things going on. And yeah, that's the story of her unraveling all that and like finding herself as well. And she has friendships, and it's a very nice book. It's targeted to children, but I really enjoy myself reading it. Now I want to order a nice copy of it and like really read it, because I believe in the 2-hour audiobook they must have skipped some parts, because the book is actually 350 pages, so that's more of a 6 or 7 hours audiobook usually. So I believe they skipped some stuff, and I wouldn't mind like actually reading the book. So yeah, The Secret Garden. Then I've read a self-help book. I never do that. I've read How to Win Friends and Influence People, I believe, by Dale Carnegie. This is one of the first self-help book. I believe it came out in like the 30s or 40s. I actually did a training during lockdown, and my trainer recommended for me to read that book, and it was very good. There was some very, very good insights on clients' relationships and how to influence people in work and management and all stuff like this. I've read it in little bits, a bit every week. I think that's the way to go, because if you just go through it, then you're not gonna retain all this information. And I have ordered now a copy so I can actually have it physically and just read 1 or 2 chapters at a time, whenever I feel like it, whenever I feel like I need it. I really recommend it if you're interested in that type of thing. Next up, my French classic of the month, Notre Dame by Victor Hugo. I finally finished to read that beast in May. I've read that alongside Christy. I will put her channel over here. Now you know her. I believe you know her. She hosted a readathon on her own channel of this, and we did a live stream every single week of 1 or 2 chapters at a time. And yeah, I really rediscovered all the characters in there, and I really enjoyed myself going deeper into the character work, into the how this book is constructed. Notre Dame is really the main character of this story, and it really made me feel like I was back in Paris. Like during this lockdown, not being able to go there, just reading this was very heartwarming to me. I believe you know the story. If you've seen the Disney Quasimodo, it's a lot darker than the Disney movie, of course, but the Disney movie is already quite dark, but this is darker. I really enjoy Victor Hugo writing styles. There is some chapters, of course, that are quite long and are more essays, philosophical essays on architecture and the role of architecture in our life, in our culture, in our history. So that you could probably skip it because it was first printed without those parts, and then I believe 3 years later it was printed with those parts. Another impressive fact is that Victor Hugo actually wrote that when he was 26. I'm 28. So yeah, I recommend this. If you want to know more, we made a live stream review with Christy on her channel as well. I will link that down below. If you want to read more French, read Hugo. Next up in classic, I've read The Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. And same, I was very impressed about how much I like this. This is set part in London, part in Paris. I think we spend quite of equal time in England and France, but I would say we get more the atmosphere in Paris. This book depicts very well the French Revolution of 1789. It's set during all that time where we were guillotining everybody. Is that a verb? Did I just invent something? Where, yeah, French citizens were just beheading all of the nobles they could grab their hands on. So it's the story of some French people, some British people, they meet, they fell in love. I don't want to say too much, but yeah, they find themselves caught up in Paris during that time, and that's the story of how this is unraveling. There is some very, very, very touching moments in this book. I latched on to some characters very hard. It's not usual for me in classics, and it really made me rethink my own French history just reading this. I had some very nice conversation with my parents about like how the revolution still affects us as French people 300 years later. Like all the show Downton Abbey and all these kind of earls and lords, we don't get that as French people. Like having a queen in England, we're like, what is that for? Because we killed everyone 3 centuries ago. We don't have any more of that like high society, I would say, high class, high nobles type of people. We don't have that at all because like we have such a bloody and violent history in our past of just getting rid of all of those people. So yeah, if you're anyone, read this. Dickens is always awesome. If you're French, read this. Pick it up in French if you're not comfortable with English classic yet, but like I really do believe this is a great read. Moving on, I listened to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This is kind of a mystery, not really thriller, but maybe. YA type of read. A few months ago, I was really disappointed by the Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson series, which is same genre, same age category, like mysteries, YA. But this time, it was a good surprise. We follow a young girl in Connecticut. She's trying to solve the suicide of one of the boys in her high school. She does that as kind of a project for class, doing kind of a journalistic investigation. And it's super good. There is, because it's YA, I believe, there is like kind of a romantic type of thing going on in the background, but it's in the background. Like it's didn't annoy me at all. I really enjoyed this. I listened to it. I was completely in the world. I was trying to figure out what happened and trying to make theories and everything. And the ending really surprised me. Even though I was guessing some stuff, the ending I really enjoyed compared to the Truly Devious series, where I end up on a sour note at the end of every single book because you didn't get the whole ending. Even though this book is going to be a series as well, the ending is like very marked. You have all your answers and like it's very satisfying. So recommend it. Read it. It's very nice. And then I have 3 Agatha Christie's and I loved every single one of them. Like this, like usually with Agatha Christie I have some 3 stars, some 4 stars, but those ones, they are all 5 stars. So yeah. 2 Hercule Poirot stories, The Mystery of the Blue Train and the ABC Murders. Do I want to tell you about the synopsis? The Mystery of the Blue Train is set in the French Riviera. There was a train going from London to Nice and something happened on that train and Poirot is trying to solve that murder. Same thing, I was making prediction, but very surprised by the endings. And the ABC Murders, there is a chain of murders in plenty of different cities in the UK. They're not related at all. They seems very random, but every single time the police found ABC buses, I believe, time book. I don't know how to describe this. Next to the victim, that's how you kind of get they're all related. And of course, Hercule Poirot solved it, and I was really impressed with that one. I believe it is the first time Agatha Christie has a serial killer type of thing in her book, and both of them, I think I really enjoyed them because we got out of that. We're in a mansion, and there is a murder. Who done it? It's more outside, and like there is different type of characters and not at all from the same geographical point, and yeah, really enjoyed that. And the third one is of course And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. I love this so much. I've been talking to you for like a month about this. I've read this when I was in high school, fell in love with it, and then I fell in love with mystery genre and especially Agatha Christie. And since then, I said to myself, one day I'm gonna read all of them, and that's kind of what I'm doing right now. And I still love it. I had such vivid memories, and I was very impressed with myself because some stuff, like from the get-go, I was like, yeah, I remember him. I remember that character. I remember what happened there. I was so surprised. I read that 10 years ago, but it's print up in my mind, and I still believe this is a masterpiece. This is so good. Every single people out there should read that, and I believe every single people will love it. Like, okay, we're now in the top 3. I have ordered some books, but I haven't received them yet, so I'm not able to hold them. But next one is Offbringer by Brandon Sanderson, the first installment in the Stormlight Archives series. I, of course, loved this book. I was so glad to be back in that world, and like every single time I'm amazed at how fast the story goes, but at the same time how deep it gets. I got lost at some points, so I want to reread it and like take it slower so I can really get everything before the 4th book, Rhythm of War, comes out. But I love the characters, I love the development, I love the story. I was so in it when I was reading it, really loved it. By now, you know, Stormlight Archive, I'm in. Next one, I was very surprised, but it's The Naked Sun by Isaac Asimov. I've been reading Isaac Asimov since the beginning of the year. This is the 2nd book in the R. Daniel Olivar series, which is detective from planet Earth and a robot from another human colonized planet, but from another planet that looks entirely like a human, collabing together to solve crimes. Do you see a repetitive theme right there? I think I'm addicted. But this one was so good, and I cannot believe this was written in the 70s, I believe. There is some concept of like FaceTiming, pretty much, in this book, and I'm like, how did you thought of this when it didn't even exist at that point in time? I don't know, I'm amazed. And the question it raised about technology and robotics, it's great. This is set on another planet than planet Earth. The first one, Caves of Steel, was set on Earth. This one is set on another planet, so we get to see how human society has evolved outside of planet Earth. And it's so on point with what's happening right now, because pretty much every single people on that planet have their own mansion, and they do not see anyone. Even if they're married, they do not spend time together more than like once a week. And all the rest is like robot interaction and kind of a FaceTime type of thing. People rarely, like, never see each other, never touch each other. My God. So I've read that like mid-May when things were starting to open up in France, and it was like, oh my God, this is what we lived for 2 months, and they like on this planet they live like that the whole time, and like kind of what problems erupt from that, and like there is a murder, so how did it happen if no one can see anyone? Interesting. And last but not least, I've read The Girl with 7 Names by Young-seo Lee. This is my non-fiction of the month, and it was so good. Young-seo Lee, I believe she's 35. She was born in North Korea and defected when she was 17. And that's the story of her growing up in North Korea, and then after that, like, how did she got by till now? I'm not gonna tell you anything because her story is simply unbelievable. If this was written as fiction, I would not believe it. I would be like, man, this is way too much to happen to one person. Like, this is not believable. Just, skip some stuff. But no, it all happened to her. It's incredible. And at the same time, it made me really think of what I was taught and my education, and how am I able to know that what I've learned is really what happened, and like, did the stories got manipulated, or like, am I able to find different sources with the same, saying this all the same stuff? And that's how I know that my country is not like delusional as a group. But yeah, it shows you how easy it might be to force history on people. Very, very interesting. I bought it for my mom in French because I wanted her to know all the stories so we could discuss, because it's so good. I recommend to everyone. And that's it. I've read 14 books. And that's it. I've told you about 14 books. Ugh. If you're still here, leave me a like. Just takes 2 seconds, leave me a like. Subscribe if you haven't, I would love that. And more videos are coming. I'm answering the Q&A, and then I'm doing like a spring wrap-up series where I'm gonna talk about my favorites per genre, my DNF, and everything. So yeah, that's it for this video. I'll see you guys very soon. Leave me a comment about any of the books so we can chat about it, you know, a bit more. And I'll see you soon. Bye!